Sometimes you find something in a video game that makes you think, why is this in the game? Fortunately, you won't find yourself asking this when playing War Thunder, as it's all about the accuracy. Join the community of over 95 million players worldwide in epic PvP battles, filled with incredibly detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sound effects as you command the most powerful war machines of our time. The game's 2,500 vehicles are all modeled down to the tiniest details. There's no reason not to try, whether you're new or experienced or running on older hardware. War Thunder offers multiple gameplay modes depending on your pace and runs on the in-house Dagger engine, optimized to deliver a lag-free experience with impressive visuals and high frame rates even on lower-end machines. Play War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile using my links in the pinned comment or video description down below. And for a limited time, new and returning players that haven't played for at least 6 months for PC and consoles will get a massive bonus pack that includes the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days premium account. Now let's look at some game discoveries that we were never meant to find. Spider-Man 2. Thanks to tiffsomniac for submitting this discovery through oddheader.com. Spider-Man 2 is a 2004 game based on the second Tobey Maguire movie, which is not related to the classic 2000 Spider-Man game for the PlayStation by Tony Hawk developers Neversoft, which I've covered before for its rather numerous strings of text in the code going off on a developer named Matt, saying he should be kicked in the nuts. This Spider-Man 2 movie game was made by a different team, Treyarch, who later went on to make the Call of Duty games. Yet Treyarch seemed to leave even more insane things in the data than Neversoft ever did, as tiffsomniac was modding the GameCube version of Spider-Man 2 when they found some questionable strings in the code, such as another f***ing day, oh god, when will the world ends, faking glowy particle effect cause particle don't work no mo, who wants a body massage, explain car combat to well, half of that's a Big Lebowski reference. I am Spidey's bitch. The Eye of the Tiger lyrics. Kill my father and then turn the gun on myself if I have to. Always wear protection. Hobbits are kind of like gay uncles. Bacon, bacon, bacon. I miss those little wiener things. Pokemon prove evolutionism is false. Florida, where old people go to die. Kind of like Cocos. Rocks can't evolve. Where did they come from, Mr. Darwin? And what's the deal with the penis shots? I've taken a large number of penis shots. Damn. What the hell was going on with the teams working on the early 2000s Spidey games? Also, what the hell do some of these messages mean? Hobbits are kind of like gay uncles. In what way? Pokemon Black and White. Thanks to SomeoneIDK for submitting this discovery through the oddheader Discord. Pokemon Black and White released in 2010 in Japan and internationally in 2011, and was considered a strong refinement of the games before it. However, it appears Black and White could have originally gone in a radically different direction, as a number of prototypes were recovered from the Game Freak leak at the end of 2024, where a few unsettling things were discovered that we've already talked about on the channel. However, it turns out in some of the original prototypes of the game, the battle music that plays was originally the Prodigy's Firestarter. For those unfamiliar, The Prodigy is one of the most influential electronic acts of all time, pioneering big beat music with the Chemical Brothers and Fatboy Slim, and has also been one of the most controversial acts of all time. Well, at least Game Freak didn't include The Prodigy's Smack My Up, even though that would have went super hard. SomeoneIDK suspects Firestarter may have been used by game director Junichi Masuda, who they say mentioned The Prodigy as a favorite band on a blog. It's ultimately unknown why this was used as the battle music, although lead singer Keith Flint does look like a highly evolved Pokemon. RIP to a legend. Whoever's idea it was to put this in a Pokemon game must have been some sort of trouble starter, punk and instigator.
I'm the trouble starter, punky instigator.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. Thanks to Astro for submitting this discovery on the oddheader Discord. As many of you know, I'm a huge Tony Hawk fan, as you can tell by these sick combos. With Tony Hawk's 3 and 4, I was thrilled to finally get another installment, although unfortunately this may be the last one for a while, given the recent reports about layoffs of the developer's studio Iron Galaxy. 3 and 4 seem crammed with even more Easter eggs than Tony Hawk 1 and 2, like the Bikini Bottom secret area and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles secret area, and there were some pretty good Easter eggs in Tony Hawk 1 and 2. However, I can't deny it was disappointing seeing some of the classic details and Easter eggs from the original 2001-2002 games were left out, like the guy peeing on the Canada map or the notorious goat Easter eggs. It's believed these changes were made to adapt to modern audiences, though that wouldn't explain a number of other surprising things that were found in the game. One of the first things found was a Banjo Champion box in the garbage on the water park level in what looks like a clear slam on Guitar Hero, which could possibly be a reference to the fact that the first Tony Hawk series was killed in favor of making more Guitar Heroes for Activision. The developer Iron Galaxy even made a statement about how they had the utmost respect for anyone who makes games, and they were investigating how the Easter egg got there, with the Easter egg being removed from the game shortly after. However, 1, 3, and 4 discovery is a lot more surprising, as shortly after the Guitar Hero discovery, players discovered hidden inside a shipping container you could originally find a blow-up doll. Perhaps unsurprisingly, this doll also got removed from the game a few weeks later. Utmost respect for whoever did this though. Nothing more captures the spirit of the original games than putting in an Easter egg so shocking it ends up getting removed from the game. Counter-Strike Online 2. Thanks to PoorPockets McNewHold for submitting this discovery on the oddheader Discord. Counter-Strike Online 2, not to be confused with Counter-Strike 2, was an officially licensed version of Counter-Strike specifically developed for the Asian gaming market by South Korean developers Nexon Corporation with oversight from Valve themselves. The game was pretty popular for its zombies mode, but unfortunately the game went offline in 2018. PoorPockets McNewHold was checking out Counter-Strike Online 2 for themselves when they were shocked to discover something while playing this game's version of the Dust map. For the most part, the map appears to be pretty much the same, unless we look at this sign with Arabic writing, with what seems like an English translation underneath, which reads country with temper, which according to ButterDogeStarWars, who tried translating it with an app, appears to be translated accurately. And to PoorPockets' further surprise, they found the sign even appeared in promotional images for the game. I thought Valve had oversight on this game. Not sure how they could get away with something so blatantly offensive right out in the open like that, but it appears until now, they pretty much did. Xbox 360. While the Xbox 360 isn't a game, data miners looking at some prototypes of the console found some rather odd discoveries that don't look like they were ever meant to be seen. In a prototype dated about 8 months before the Xbox 360 release, the console settings look a bit different from the settings on the official console, as the terms of use are just text about former basketball player Dennis Rodman posing nude for PETA. Why? The text appears to be taken from a news article talking about a campaign called Ink Not Mink, where Rodman posed nude and showed off all of his tattoos for advertisements against fur coats. I'm not sure what's more odd, the fact this was on the Xbox 360 dashboard, or the fact that this actually happened. Love Live School Idol Festival After School Activity. Love Live School Idol Festival After School Activity was an arcade rhythm game that released in Japan in 2016, based on the Love Live series about a group of schoolgirls who perform as idols as their favorite after-school activity. Really doesn't get much more sweet and wholesome than this. At least that's what you would think. As shortly after the developers issued an update to the original arcade version in 2018, for some reason all the characters ended up loading into the game as nude dummy models, and for some players the nude characters were even missing their heads. Well, that's one way to update the game. While this wasn't graphic at all and the characters looked like Barbie dolls, this bug still looked funny enough to go viral in Japan, especially because playing the game meant showing off these nude idols to everyone in the arcade at the time. Let's just say running to the arcade to play School Idol Festival After School Activity became a lot of people's favorite after school activity. Some players even captured the moment with the game's printout feature. Players had fun with the bug until the developer pretty quickly announced they were shutting down the game temporarily to fix it, to the dismay of many players, and I imagine many arcade owners too, who were likely making a killing on Love Live School Idol Festival until the developer had to go and fix the game. Battletoads. Battletoads is a classic by beloved developer Rare, who originally released it on NES in 1991 and later released it in arcades in 1994. Battletoads is remembered by many as a fun and refreshing Rare game, but remembered by even more as one of the most difficult games of all time, which Rare said they intentionally did to increase the length of the game, claiming some of the developers even screamed in the office while playing the game themselves. Despite this, the game was popular enough to get a kids' TV special, which Disney released on VHS the same year as the arcade game. However, Disney probably wouldn't be happy to hear about a discovery found in the data of the game, as data miners discovered audio files of someone yelling out expletives.
Oh, dumb kiss my.
Certainly surprising to hear such language in a game that was designed to appeal to kids. If I had to guess, I'd say it's a poor Rare developer trying to get through their own game. Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars. The first Broken Sword game is one of my favorite point-and-click adventure games of all time, where the American parish George Stobart witnesses a strange man dressed as a clown bomb a whole cafe just to steal one guy's briefcase. George then sets out to find the clown who nearly killed him, and ends up uncovering a bigger mystery involving an evil cult and a hidden treasure. However, players made a discovery in the game that makes it seem as if the killer wasn't the only one clowning. As in an interview back in 2020, George's voice actor Rolf Saxon laughed about how much fun he had ad-libbing some of his lines during the recording process, but he and the game's creator Charles Cecil seemed to imply most of these improvised lines weren't appropriate for the final game.
The stuff that Rolf made got cut, and I tried to make sure it got deleted so that it would never see the light of day. And that's all we're going to say, isn't it, Rolf? That's all we're going to say.
However, Rolf mentions there's a reel of outtakes out there that Charles forgot to remove.
He didn't get quite all of it, apparently.
Oh, really? There's some George outtakes out there.
There certainly are. Yeah, there certainly are.
Evidently, players found these outtakes in the sound effects folder of the director's cut, revealing some of those crazy ad-libs Rolf was talking about.
Oh, Nico, you're a man. Her rear exit was barred and padlocked. Oh, slap him, David.
Who's David? And who's getting slapped? There doesn't seem to be any context for when this could have been said in game. And having played Broken Sword as many times as I have, not sure what possible scenario Rolf could have been ad-libbing. The fact these lines were found in the sound effects folder is even stranger, as there are no other voice lines in this folder, making me wonder if this implies the lines are actually used for an Easter egg that's yet to be found, which could have been added with the director's cut update since these lines were found in that version of the game. If that's the case, the only question now is how do we find these possible Easter eggs? I can only imagine the things we'd have to try to get this line.
Her rear exit was barred and padlocked. Oh, dear, dear, dear.
Unmechanical. Thanks to the Master 4286 for submitting this through oddheader.com. Unmechanical is a fairly straightforward 2012 physics-based puzzle exploration game. What's far from straightforward, however, is a discovery SWU703 revealed they found on the Steam forums for the game a decade after the game released. SWU describes some interesting assets they found by going through the data of the game they didn't actually see when playing it, such as a random image of a person or a portion of a painting by 19th century painter Thomas Cole. However, none of that compared to an audio file SWU703 found called Creepy 1. Playing the file, it certainly lived up to its name, as SWU heard what sounded like strange noises and voices that had been slowed down. Importing the audio into Audacity, SWU modified the speed of the audio until they could make out what the sounds were, until they couldn't believe their ears. On top of the sensual moans and suggestive sounds, SWU realized the audio revealed itself after they sped it up by 69%, which is definitely ironic considering that number may have also been the inspiration for this recording. Alexi Lalas International Soccer. Thanks to Bo for submitting this discovery on the Oddheader Discord. Alexi Lalas International Soccer came out in 1999 on the PlayStation North America, as well as the rest of the world under a number of different names, which was also completely forgotten, as everyone at the time ended up being way more into FIFA, with Alexi Lalas International Soccer only really being noted at release for reportedly having everything motion captured by US soccer player Eric Winalda. However, this game's certainly going to be remembered after I show this. Bo Bales, who reverse engineers retro games on their blog Rings of Saturn, was taking a look at Alexi Lalas International Soccer, trying to see if the cheat code for the PAL version of the game that unlocked all teams also worked on the US version. Bo found they were right and the cheat code did work on the US version, unlocking all the teams as well as a new option on the match menu labeled Secret, where you can select secret teams from the list. However, that's not all Bo found, as they saw after unlocking all the teams, the game's code ran an additional check. Bo reverse engineered the code to figure out what this check was for, and found something more could be unlocked by following some very specific steps. Bo found you had to first start a new friendly match and select your two teams as England 1966, which is one of the hidden teams unlocked under the secret option, and the Republic of Ireland. Players then have to press up 8 times and then enter a cheat code before starting a new match. To Bo's surprise, when the intro for the match played, the England 1966 team, who normally face this way when the match starts, were now facing like this. And by the way, this game is rated E. It's unknown why the hell this happens and what this means, though reader of Bo's blog wonders if the egg could have been a reference to the Irish Troubles and tensions between England and Ireland, which were still ongoing at the time the game was developed. Bo also suggests the Easter egg could have been poking fun at the English team because of the Lansdowne Road football riot, when unruly fans broke into fights during a football match between England and Ireland in 1995, a conflict also caused by the ongoing troubles at the time. Bo, however, points out that kind of be an odd reference for an American game studio, and this game came out years after the incident, so it's still not clear if that is the explanation. The obscure way this was programmed also makes it appear as though this was never meant to be found by the general public, which I say is backed by the fact it took Bo 27 years to uncover it. It's still unclear what's going on here, but what I do know is this game will now be forever remembered for more than just its motion capture by Eric Winalda. Hopefully Eric didn't have anything to do with this one. And thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game. The game's 2,500 vehicles are all modeled down to the tiniest details for every biplane, armored car, fighter jet, or tank from 10 different nations from the 1920s to modern day. And the best part is, every piece is destructible, with an X-ray displaying the damage to each piece when you're blowing opponents to smithereens. Play War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile using my links in the pinned comment or video description down below. And for a limited time, new and returning players that haven't played for at least 6 months for PC and consoles will get a massive bonus pack that includes the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days premium account. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. And if you know of any other discoveries in video games that weren't meant to be found, submit through oddheader.com, come join the Discord, or even submit a post on the Oddheader subreddit. Shout out to Aaron Johnston, Angel the Fox, Ash Photography, Black EV50, Chad Biscuits, Eddie Talkspin the Bleach Primitive, Flex, Jailbreak, Isaac Murillo, Kieran Bolton, The Meatly, Phoenix 157, Rackman22, Ray Zorez, Riley S, Robert Eisenman, Select, Subrock, and Terrence Stock for their Patreon support. Stay tuned.